guys, my name is Sarah Newberry Moore. I'm a professional sailor and I race the Olympic class sailboat called the Nacra 17. It's one of the only mixed gender boats in Olympic sailing, and it's one of only a few mixed gender sports in the Olympics. It is also a super cool foiling platform that goes really fast. Today I'm here because I wanted to share a little bit of my experience as a pro athlete with you, and because I wanted to answer a question that I've gotten asked a lot by younger athletes, and that question is, how do I get to the next level? Whatever that level looks like for them. And it's a really good question. It's a good question because it is at the very heart of what sport is, to figure out how to get to the next level. So if you're asking that question, good job. Let's do it. And if you're not asking it yet, start wondering what that next level looks like, because you deserve to get there with a little hard work. The first questions we have to ask ourselves are, what are our strengths and what are our weaknesses? And what does that mean? So first, strengths. Strengths are the things that we are naturally good at. They're the things that we naturally excel at, or the things that we have put the most amount of time into practicing being good at. A lot of what strengths are depends on where you focused your energy in the last couple years or however long you've been racing or sailing. It's really important that we celebrate our strengths, and it's really important that we know what they are. And if you haven't already done it, I would highly recommend taking some time to write down your strengths in your notebook and go back and look at them all the time and update the list, It's important to keep track of what we're good at because it helps remind us why and how we're going to succeed. Weaknesses. It's funny because a lot of athletes find it hard to talk about weaknesses, and I understand why. It's because we all want to win, and it's really hard to think about being the best and winning if you start to think about all the things that you might not be so great at. The truth is that in order to be a great athlete and in order to be a champion, you actually have to kind of like talking about them. So how can we turn our weaknesses into our strengths? And how can we change how we think about what weaknesses are? So I want to read you a quote by Kobe Bryant. That's something that I think about a lot when I'm trying to figure out how to get to the next level, or when I need a little bit of inspiration to back up all of the boring work that goes into being a professional athlete. It says, I want to see if I can. I don't know if I can. I want to find out. I want to see. I'm going to do what I always do. I'm going to break it down to its smallest form, smallest detail, and go after it. Day by day, one day at a time. Kobe Bryant. So in Kobe's quote, a lot of what he's saying is that in order to get to a big goal, you have to make it into a lot of much smaller goals before you're able to succeed. And that's true in more than just basketball. That's true in life, and it's true in a lot of other sports. Whatever your goal is, or whatever the level is that you want to get to, you're gonna need to break that big goal down and attack it a little bit at a time. For example, let's say that your goal is to qualify for the national team at your next trials event. Well, if we go and look at our strengths and weaknesses and we determine that one of our biggest weaknesses is starting, in order to make the national team, it's probably pretty likely that you're going to have to invest some energy in starting. And then in order to practice starting, you're going to have to figure out which part of the start you're struggling with, right? And then once you figure out which part of the start you're struggling with, you're going to have to come up with a way to practice it. And in order to practice it, you might have to break that thing down into a couple little pieces as well. Take the time to plan how you're going to incorporate technology into your program. Get an onboard camera, okay? Because the best coach that you're ever going to have is yourself. Every piece of video footage that you get out of a training session belongs to you, and you can take your time to review it and to identify what areas of your technique you want to improve. That's how people do it at the highest level, and if you're not doing it yet, get started now. Okay guys, I promise that no matter how bad it feels to mess up or how hard it is when you capsize over and over again, if you're putting the time in to work on something specific, it will pay off eventually. Do not give up just because it doesn't feel good, okay? It's usually a good sign if it's difficult that you're on the right track and you're working on something that you need to be working on. Just a quick wrap up for you here, guys. 5 tips to leveling up in our sport and elsewhere. Number 1, self-evaluate. Take the time to do it. Sit down. Be honest. It's not scary to work on yourself. It's actually a secret ingredient. Number 2, train yourself to see weaknesses as opportunities to become superior to your competition. Number 3, break down your goals into smaller goals. Super important. Surprising how fast you can improve this way. Number 4, incorporate tech or upgrade what you have. Number 5, don't stop chipping away just because it might hurt. Okay? Don't give up. You got this. Break it down, work on it, bring in what you need to bring in to make yourself better, and get the next level going. Okay? Listen, thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate it. See you next time.